Why did Jimin have to hide it so tightly? Was he really afraid of that Jungkook couldn't help crying after seeing him? And why did all this only happen right after Taeil left the military? Is this not just a coincidence? Could it be that Jimin was deliberately hiding something from the two of them? The army is now haunted by one big question. What exactly has Jimin been hiding all this time, and why only now is the secret open? Why would Jimin hide that? Jungkook's reaction left the army speechless. Jungkook cries after seeing what Jimin hid in his bag. Does this have anything to do with Taeil leaving the military? Nothing prepares us for that moment. No one could guess that after all the noise, it was the silence that made everything feel so real. One bag, one thing, one reaction that froze time. Jungkook's tears just fell, in the middle of a stiff smile, in front of Jimin who couldn't look him in the eye. And behind it all, only one silent whisper kept spinning in Army's mind. What exactly Jimin had been hiding all this time? Exactly a day after the shocking news about Taeil officially leaving the military, BTS surprised the world again. Not with a song, not with a new project, but with a real, raw, and completely unpolished moment on camera. A moment that only happens when emotions can no longer be controlled. Jungkook cried. Not an ordinary cry. It's not haru. This cry came from the depths of feeling, from a wound that had somehow begun to grow. And it all started in Jimin's bag. The question is no longer, what did Jimin carry in that bag? But why did he keep it all this time? Why did he cover it up from Jungkook? Why is that thing only coming out now, after Taeil is free from military service, and the world finally hopes BTS reunites like they used to? Or could this have been planned? Many thought it was just a joke at first. A short video that accidentally leaked from behind the scenes shows Jimin with a nervous expression opening his bag in front of Jungkook. The camera shook, a faint laughing sound, then suddenly quiet. Jungkook's eyes froze. His mouth opened slightly, his breath choked. And in a matter of seconds, his eyes turned red. He's down. And her tears fell to the cold floor of the studio. No one spoke. Jimin just stared, without a single word coming out of his lips. What did Jungkook see? That is the question that continues to haunt. However, one thing is certain. These are not ordinary objects. Army immediately began to speculate. Some believe it was an old letter from Taeil. Others suspected a photo from the past of the three of them. But the most shocking and most painful for many people is the rumor that Jimin kept voice recordings. Yes, a very personal voice recording. The voice of someone who was once very close to the three of them. And that voice is not for anyone to hear. Why did he keep it all this time? Is Jimin not ready to let go? Or was he too afraid if it was discovered early before his time? But why now? Why is it that after Taeil was discharged from the military, it was only shown now? What does that have to do with their cancelled meeting? Or is this Jimin's last attempt to fix something that has been broken? When asked about the moment in an off-record radio interview attended only by internal staff, one of the insiders could only say, "We can't explain." But Jungkook's reaction was something we hadn't seen since the last day the three of them spoke in private. The remark echoed and added mystery in an already too thick fog. What did he mean by the last day the three of them spoke? Was there really a fight between Jimin, Jungkook, and Taeil before the military enlistment began? A surprising piece of information came from one of the former stylists who worked for them before the long hiatus. He mentioned that since the end of 2022, there have been drastic changes in the way Jimin treats the interaction between Jungkook and Taeil. He always shies away if they get too close. I thought it was just out of jealousy of friendship, but now I'm starting to wonder. Did Jimin keep anything for fear of hurting Taeil? Or is it because you want to protect Jungkook from something bigger? Some armies started digging back into old videos, from fan meeting to behind the scenes, and trying to find hidden clues. They found one video that has now gone viral, a brief moment when Taeil, during a V-Live session before enlisting in the military, said quietly, "If I'm not here anymore, just keep it until it's time." The phrase, once considered a joke, has now turned into a poisonous riddle that torments the mind. Was that the thing Jimin kept? If it's true, it means it's not just Jimin who's hiding something, but also Taeil. And perhaps, in some inexplicable way, they were both trying to convey a message to Jungkook. The message is now finally arriving, but too slowly. And now, after that moment of tears, the public can only guess what is really happening behind the scenes. Jimin disappeared from publication for 3 days after the video went viral. Jungkook posted a short message on his personal platform, "I'm not ready, but I understand." The ambiguous sentence breaks the hearts of many soldiers, because it is like describing someone who is forced to accept the harsh reality that he has been avoiding. But which reality? Is it possible that the thing is a symbol of the end of a relationship? Not just friendship, but trust. Where is Taeil in all this? Why is there no statement from his side? Why does he also seem to refrain from talking after being discharged from the military? Even in his first fan meeting, he only chuckled a little when someone asked about BTS's reunion plans. That it takes time. And courage, he said as he looked toward the empty stage. What does courage have to do with Jimin? Or with Jungkook? Question after question arose, surrounding the army with an uneasy feeling. Many cried. Many were outraged. But the most striking is the sense of longing. The longing for honesty that used to be always evident on the faces of BTS members. I miss their genuine laughter. And now, there are only puffy eyes, speechless lips, and closed bags. For too long, that IT might just be a thing. But the story behind it is much heavier than just material. It's about trust, separation, regret, and maybe betrayal that was never meant to be. And the biggest question that has not been answered until now is, what really happened between the three of them before Taeil entered the military? Dan, what does Jimin really want to convey through that thing now? Is this an apology? Or is it just a form of recognition that is too late? Armies around the world are waiting. I'm not looking forward to a musical comeback. They are waiting for honesty. Because in a world built by sincerity, one little secret can shake things up. And that day, it only starts with one bag, which is finally opened. But it actually closes a lot of things that used to be so bright. Days have passed since that heartwarming moment happened. However, his shadow continued to haunt. Replays of the short video have been played millions of times by the army around the world. None of them could forget the way Jungkook fell silent, froze, and then just cried, silently, without a fight. Tears are more than just a momentary emotion. It was an explosion of flavors that had been buried for too long. And everything, it's from Jimin's bag. The question is now sharpened. What exactly does Jimin keep in the bag? And why did Jungkook cry as soon as he saw it? Rumors are getting wild. But behind the speculation, some seemingly trivial clues began to be strung together into something surprising. In one of the old radio interviews, recorded before Taeil entered the military, Jimin said something that is now considered the starting code of everything. "I think if the time comes, I will leave it to you," he said with a slight smile, looking at Jungkook. No one understood the meaning of that sentence at that time. But now, those words are haunting. Give up what? Some of the old staff who were no longer under contract with HYB started talking anonymously. One of them revealed that in 2022, Jimin was seen storing something in his personal small safe in a private studio. The safe is not for money or documents. It's an emotional thing. Not valuable materially, but very valuable personally, said the source. And when asked who knew about the safe, the answer was only one: Taeil. Did Jimin really keep something Taeil asked him not to open until the right time? If so, was that the time when Taeil returned from the military? But why did Jungkook see it first? The most astounding theory emerged from a group of Korean army who compiled a timeline of interactions between the three. They discovered that the day before Jungkook's tearful video went viral, Jimin was seen spending time with BTS's longtime manager in a small studio on the outskirts of Seoul. It was also there, according to local fanbase records, that Jimin was seen carrying an old black bag that was not part of the fashion brand he usually wore. The bag very specific. The bag, with a silver zipper and a small smudge on the bottom left, appeared in a V-Live 4 years ago, when Jimin, Taeil, and Jungkook were staying at a villa during the making of their winter special. In the show, Taeil said as he pointed to the bag, "If you keep it, you keep a part of us." Is it possible that the contents of the bag are something related to the times of the three of them? An old photo that went viral again shows the three sitting on the snow, with small pieces of paper on which they each write. The pieces of paper, according to the description behind the scenes, are personal promises, written to each other, then put in one small box. But when the session ended, the box was never found. After 2 weeks had passed, the echo of Jungkook's crying in the rehearsal room had not yet subsided. The K-pop world felt like it stopped spinning for a moment, waiting for one of them to speak, or simply giving a sign that everything will be fine. But there was no sound. There is no clarification, no explanation. All that remained was a deafening silence, leaving a million speculations and a sense of tightness hanging over the chest of the army. But silence does not mean that there is no turmoil behind the scenes. And reportedly, it was the turmoil that finally made Jin, who had been keeping a distance from the other members' emotional issues in order to respect their personal space, have to intervene. And when Jin spoke, the world is listening. According to an internal report leaked to a limited fan site circle, Jin contacted Jungkook and Jimin directly a few days after the viral video went viral. He reportedly sent a personal voice message to each of them, conveying both worry and a simple request: "Meet me. We should talk as a family, not artists." That sentence touched the hearts of many people, because Jin, who is known as the oldest Hyung with great affection, seems to see the wound as too deep to leave it alone. The meeting, said to have taken place in secret at a private place owned by Jin, a family home that has never been touched by the media, is rumored to be the starting point of a touching and tearful recovery effort. There were only 3 people in the room: Jin, Jimin, and Jungkook, and according to reliable sources, none of them came out without red eyes. What are they talking about? There are no official records, but reportedly, Jin had said in a trembling voice, "We all keep something, but let's not let that destroy what we built together." That sentence seems to be the key to this whole mystery, because at the end of the day, it's not just about one thing in a bag. It's a wound that never heals, about promises never kept, about the past that continues to haunt the present. And when it all becomes too much to bear, even a man as strong as Jungkook can fall. But the biggest surprise is not over yet. A few days after the meeting, Taeil finally appeared on social media. In the 3-minute 14-second live video, which fans now refer to as the confession broadcast, he begins with a serious face and a low-key sentence that shakes: "I never intended to hurt anyone. But I did ask Jimin to keep something because I couldn't see it at the time." Instantly, the fans' chat exploded. What does that mean? What could he not see? Dan, does it have anything to do with Jimin's bag? Taeil continued, "There are memories, which makes me too sick to remember when I was getting ready for the army. And I know Jimin's strong enough to keep it for me. But I forgot that Jungkook also has a right to those memories." In a voice that clearly held back emotion, he added, "If I could turn back time, I would tell you everything before I go." That sentence left millions of soldiers speechless. Because in that confession, it was clear that whatever was in Jimin's bag was not only about trust, but also about burden. And that burden is too heavy to carry alone. Then, the question again arises, what exactly is in the bag? Now, the army has stronger leads than ever. Many were convinced that the contents of the bag were a personal short video recorded by Taeil before his military service, intended for Jungkook and Jimin. The video that he asked Jimin to save because he himself could not finish it. But why watch after 2 years? According to rumors that are now gaining strength, the video is not just a farewell greeting, but a confession message that was very personal, emotional, and, according to a source close to him, contained a single sentence that changed everything. The sentence has never been officially announced. But some army suspect Taeil conveyed in the video a deep sense of frustration that he had been hiding. "I feel like I lost you before I actually left." If it is true, then it is a painful confession. Because that is, even before the military separated them, something had kept them away from each other. And perhaps, the contents of the bag were clear evidence that the 3 of them kept each other's wounds in silence. After Taeil's live video ended, Jimin shared a touching message on his personal platform. "I'm sorry that I kept something that wasn't mine for too long. I just wanted to protect us all, but I realized sometimes it's a wall." And for the first time since the incident, Jungkook has finally posted something other than a photo or emoji. He wrote, "Thank you, already saved it. Now I know why you're waiting." The post made the army cry. Not because the answer is obvious,